So the C virus sparked your spiritual awakening. What now? What do you do now? Let me explain to you why this happened, what it means, and the most powerful thing that you can do about it right now. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you the things you need to know about spiritual awakening and why did you go through and did it spark because of what happened right now. Well, first off, I want to say congrats. Congratulations. This is a very powerful time of your life. I believe that you will have more personal growth in the next maybe 3 to 6 months than you have in your entire life. You will be learning more about yourself and really be unrooting some of maybe the things that have caused you a lot of pain and resistance in the past. And it's going to be literally like a whole new world that you begin to experience. It's a very expansive time of your life. I still have nostalgia, a little bit of nostalgia from when I went through mine in 2012. I'm such a different person. I was somebody that had ADHD. It was hard for me to focus. I felt very unworthy because of having a painful past. There was me feeling stuck, confused, a lot of negative emotions, and then afterwards I was literally a completely different person in a much more positive way. I live life according to my own direction now. I'm not necessarily kind of going, before I was very much on autopilot, and a lot of times when people go through a spiritual awakening, they start to wake up and start to choose things from this new perspective, from this new, realizing that they have a choice. So first off, congratulations on going through this spiritual awakening. Now, one of the reasons I think this happened, okay, so we got the C virus thing happening, and one thing that happens with spiritual awakening, SA stands for spiritual awakening on the board, by the way, is it never happens in your comfort zone. As great as it could be that it's like, oh, I just came across this spiritual realization and all of these cool things, unless we are challenged and unless there's some type of pressure, normally we'll just stay in what's comfortable. So one of the side effects of this C virus going on is that many people are going through a spiritual awakening right now. It is incredible to me. I did not realize that the side effect of this would be this many people waking up to more of who they are, starting to question their reality in a completely new way, and just understand that that comes from not being in it comes from getting out of your comfort zone and the pressure that this is just creating. This is having a lot of people go within fear, go within their own and understanding their mind a little bit more. I think something else that happened as well is it could be some people are waking up because there's no more sports to really watch. All sports are shut down. There's also the news and the way that it is projecting and exaggerating what's happening, and how every single thing it says is completely fearful. I think that people are starting to question things a little bit more. They're starting to question what they're being told, maybe the manner in which they're told it, and they're starting to say, why is it always like that? You know, I made a post on my Instagram about how yes, be careful, you know, wash your hands and do all of this, but when it was first coming out, have we ever seen anything on the media ever that's been positive? Well, that alone is starting to wake people up to realizing, yeah, why is it like that? Why is it that every single thing is completely negative, completely fearful? It is some of the worst things happening in the whole entire world. That's what it pinpoints on, and then therefore that's what we think is all around us. We think that what's happening in some of these third world countries and stuff is happening like down the street next to Target or something like that. So it's something that many people are waking up to there as well. So first off, one of the things that happens with the spiritual awakening is you realize that you are not just the ego mind. You're going beyond thought. Normally you go through life and you say, this is who I am. I am Aaron. I had this past in the past. This is who I was. This is who I am now. I identify with my thoughts. And the problem is with that is when we identify with just this part of ourselves, we're leaving out a greater part of ourselves. That greater part of us is understanding that we are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. Now, let me share with you as well, this might sound a little bit esoteric, but right now on the planet, this is what's happening because now is a time of transformation on the planet. This is a time where we wanted to wake up to who we really are at a mass level. So there are different people going through it at different stages, but nonetheless, this is something that we agreed to go through at a certain level. So this is who we thought we were before. Now, because of the pain and the fear, it created pressure. And now what we're realizing is that we are not just the ego body. We are not just this is like a physical avatar, when in actuality, we are an eternal spiritual being. So what happens is we've gone beyond this and we start to realize, we start to question things. You know, we're born into this body, to this ego, and we're told this is who you are. And then what we do is we compare ourselves to everyone else because of the way the social conditioning is, looking at magazines and models, and then we may feel like we're not enough. And what happens is we identify with that, and then eventually there's enough pressure that's created where then we go beyond the thoughts and the ego. And then that's what's happening right now on the planet. So this is one of the things I want to share with you, is this chart of consciousness right here. This is called there's levels of consciousness, and these are like different emotional states. Everything has a certain vibration. You call it a vibration or a level of consciousness. Everything calibrates at a certain level. Now this is a scale from 0 to 1,000. 0, you got fear is about 100. You've got anger. You got neutrality at 250. Reasoning is 400. Love is 500. And then joy, peace, and enlightenment is 600 and above. So what happens is as we move up this scale, our vibration increases. We feel better. Our base point raises for how we feel. And this is a general progression of what we wanted to go through in life, is to really remember who we are, is to raise and elevate our levels of consciousness. Now, here's the thing. Almost everything shared on the news is between the level of fear and anger. So it keeps us, right, it is projected there. We look at it, then we resonate with it, and then therefore we're within that little bubble. Now what's happening is many people are going beyond that. And the way you go beyond that is through learning how to observe your thoughts. If there's one thing that I could share with you that will transform your life more than anything else, anything else that I teach, it's if you were to sit down every single day for 5 or 10 minutes a day in the morning, 5 or 10 minutes at night, and just observe your thoughts. Just observe your thoughts, because when you observe your thoughts, what then happens is something very magical. You realize that you may think thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. It then creates this little bit of a separation. That little bit of a separation makes a huge difference. Because what happens is as you do that for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, 5 or 10 minutes at night, you begin to feel more calm. Cortisol in your body the stress hormone begins to reduce. You begin to feel more dopamine and good feeling hormones in your body. You begin to feel better. But then what happens is when you're observing your thoughts, not trying to control them, by the way. This isn't about controlling thoughts. Controlling thoughts creates resistance. When I first learned meditation, the first day or two, I was trying to control my thoughts. I didn't have a great time. I was like, this stuff doesn't work. And then what I did is I learned how to observe my thoughts. Just neutralize them as they go. Just look at them as they go, not try to control them. Just kind of be curious. And as I did that, I began to feel completely different about myself. That resistance begins to go, and then what happens is it leaks into other parts of your day. So for example, you observe your thoughts for the first 5 or 10 minutes of your day, you then go out, something happens in the world, and then what happens is you're able to observe it and not react to it. It changes everything. And then what happens as well is by observing your thoughts, you may then start to observe other parts of yourself, certain beliefs you had about who you are. Like for example, I used to believe I had ADHD, and I thought the only way I could go through this is by taking Adderall, which is the prescription drug they give for it, which had very harsh side effects of you can't eat very much and you can't sleep very much. Then what I did is I started to question that. I started to redefine myself. And as I did that, I became free from that label, free from that belief. Now what I do, and what I've done since 2012 when I completely quit taking Adderall, is I ground myself in grass, I walk on grass, and what I do is I meditate every day. That balances out my energy, and I feel so much better. I still have a lot of energy. I'm sure you can tell by some of my videos, but it's completely different. I've redefined something about myself. I used to believe I was unworthy. I could then see these thoughts come up. I could see these beliefs and say, wait, do I choose to believe this? Is this actually true? And then you begin to go through a metamorphosis where you begin to drop labels. Somebody may have told you growing up that you weren't valuable, that you weren't special. Somebody may have said something mean to you and you believed it. And then it's just gone unchecked. It's been on autopilot. Now you're waking up. And as you wake up, you begin to pull out these things. And you begin to literally reinvent yourself. And that's what spiritual awakening is. It's a letting go. The fastest way up the scale of consciousness is to let go of the lower vibrational states. It's to let go of the thoughts that don't serve you. It's to let go and allow. And that's what's happening with you right now, is you're beginning to let go. Let go of some of the thoughts you may have been thinking, the attachment to it. And understand that one of the most powerful things of going through a spiritual awakening is understanding that you may think thoughts, you are not your thoughts. You're not your ego, you're more than that. You're a spiritual being. But also, everything in your life is fundamentally neutral other than the meaning you give it. Everything in life is neutral except for the meaning you give it. If it was a rainy day, it's windy right now. One thing, it's like really windy in Vegas right now. If I wanted to, I'd be like, oh, it's windy, I can't go for a run and all of this stuff. And the truth is, it's a neutral thing. Wind is a neutral thing. However, I could even give it a positive meaning if I wanted to. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go fly a kite. And I could like throw out a kite, like run around. So it's like, you get lemons, make lemonade. But the idea is it's neutral. And even things, if somebody were to get fired from their job, they could say, this is really bad. It's actually a neutral thing. A lot of times, that'll happen when somebody isn't really passionate about their job. And they can maybe find something that they like even better, or start their own business, or whatever it is. But the meaning we give it is what we get out of it. That's part of spiritual awakening as well. That's the level of reasoning. The 400 to 500 is reasoning, understanding our beliefs are creating our experience, whatever we believe to be true. So this is a very powerful time of becoming free of those past beliefs that don't serve, like my past beliefs of ADHD and not feeling worthy and all these things. Now, another thing that you might go through, and I want to kind of not warn you, but people may not understand what's going on with you right now. They may not get it. You may say, well, what about this? What about that? The important thing to do is to not necessarily look to them or to need their validation to understand what you're going through. When I went through mine, I felt like people didn't understand me. I felt judged, and it caused me to kind of go in my own cocoon. Know that there are millions and millions and millions of people going through a spiritual awakening right now. And if you want proof of it, look in the comments below. You'll see other people there. Say what up to them, you know. And what happens is you can realize that people may not understand right now, but you just got to be you. You got to go through this transformation. It doesn't matter what people think, because they'll eventually go through it on their own time. And right now it's your time. Right now this is your time to go within. This is your time to redefine yourself. They expect to see you in the way they've always saw you, and for a while you may feel like there's a little bit of it's not linking up because they're seeing you a certain way, but you're changing. It's just only thing that matters is how you see yourself. But don't need their validation. It's okay if they don't give it to you. Have compassion for them. They're afraid of losing the old version of you. But just understand that you have to trust this process. Don't also be the old version of you because they expect you to be. It's about reinventing yourself. Now, you might also have to learn boundaries. That's something else that you may have to learn. Boundaries, if people are trying to get you to do low vibrational things or they want you around, you may find that it begins to drain your energy a little bit. You may actually have to say no, which then says yes to something else. I eventually had to say no to going to certain parties and things. I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. I kind of want to do this. I want to read about this. I want to do this. When I was going through my spiritual awakening. Another thing you may go through, last thing I'll talk about, is inventory. You may do inventory of your diet. Understanding that what you put in your body becomes you. A lot of times this is a great time to redo your diet and to really start eating nutrient-rich foods and whatever that means for you. Your beliefs about who you are, do inventory of that, observe them, and then let go of labels that no longer serve you. This is a time of really doing powerful inventory of this process, and this is something that you can begin to do in a very powerful way. Now, something that I do have, by the way, is if you want to calibrate what's called your vibration, which is like this scale of consciousness right here. If you'd like to calibrate it, you can go to whatsmyvibration.com or click the top of the description box below. Calibrate your vibration. I'll also give you a meditation for getting you to the next level. Plus, I will be showing you how to elevate your level of consciousness. So this is something that will help you. You'll learn more about your level of consciousness through that of an archetype, and then it'll show you how to get to the next one with that of meditations. So try that out as well. Other than that, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be making more videos that are show you how to go through this process, and I look forward to that. And as always, peace, much love, and namaste.